Hello. First off, I would like to thank you for volunteering to teach for OLLI. Um, I know this is a difficult time for everyone and we need as many distractions as we can. So hopefully this will be a distraction both for you and for the students who will be taking your class. There are a couple things you will want to keep in mind when you are going to be teaching a class. Some of them are obvious, some of them are a little bit less so. One thing you want to keep in mind is your background. So I have a pretty neutral background here. I'm in my basement office. I don't actually have a lot of choices to where I'm going to be teaching. Um, but I tried to aim my camera so that there wouldn't be anything weird in the background. The other thing you want to pay attention to is light. The way that I have to set up my camera down here, notice that if I have the overhead light on, it's super bright and super distracting and super annoying. So I went ahead and set up some lamps in here so that I don't have to use this really annoying overhead light when I'm recording a video or participating in a Zoom meeting. Much better. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is that if at all possible, you want to have a microphone. So notice that I have a headset microphone here. That's going to give me much better audio than just using the microphone on my computer. A headset is generally going to filter out some of the ambient noise around you. You could use one maybe that came with your cell phone. So they will often have a earpiece with a microphone attached to it for taking more private cell phone calls. So look and see if that will work. So you can actually test out these things before you start your class. Another thing I would like to mention is what kind of connection you have for your computer. If at all possible, it's probably going to be better to use a wired connection rather than your laptop's wireless connection. So what do I mean by that? If you have a cable, something that looks like this is a network cable, and that connects into the back of your computer and runs into a plug on your wall or out of your cable box or something like that. If you have the ability to use a wired connection, that's going to give you a bit more stable signal and may help reduce some of the lag that you're going to see, especially if you're going to be using video like this. So those are some of the things that I want to point out for you that are going to be important to keep in mind when you're going to be giving a video. So these are just some of the things that you may find useful when giving an online class versus what you're used to when giving a face-to-face class. I'm going to talk next about some of the options you'll see within Zoom and the way that you can manage Zoom. Now we're going to take a brief look at what you're going to see within Zoom as you're teaching. You have two different views. You have the gallery view and the speaker view. If you are giving a discussion session, then you'll probably want to use the gallery view. If you are lecturing, then the speaker view will probably be fine. To switch between the views, when you hold your cursor over the screen in the top right corner on a desktop or laptop computer, you will see either gallery view or speaker view, and that will switch you back and forth between those two different views. Also, when you move your cursor over the screen, that's where you will get the various commands for your meeting. To share your screen, when you have the commands up, you will look along the bottom for share screen. Then the system will ask you what screen you want to share. I have multiple screens on my computer, so I get multiple screens here. And you also have the option for just choosing, say, a Word document or a PowerPoint. Here, I'm going to choose screen 1, which is where my PowerPoint is located. And then in the lower right corner, I'm going to choose share. If you have YouTube videos or something like that, you want to make sure that you're going to share computer sound. Then, while you are giving your your talk, you will have the commands along the top. So if you need to pause sharing, or if you want to stop the video or mute while you have to cough, all of those options appear along the top when you move your mouse. Also, you can have a little window showing you exactly how you look while you're giving this. The screen sharing controls that are important are going to be mute, stop video, and manage participants. Also, the more here is where you're going to find the chat. Manage participants is going to be if someone has forgotten to turn off their microphone and there's a lot of background noise. That's where you can go to turn that off. Or if someone has their video on while you're giving a lecture, it reduces the bandwidth to turn that off. So manage participants is there. And then more is where you will find chat. So more, you see you have chat and other options here. So the chat is a way for students to discuss amongst themselves or for them to send messages to you. So you can send a message to an individual student within your class, or you can send it to everyone. And if you want feedback from your students, that can also appear in the chat. If you are using two screens, you have the option to pop that out and put it in a separate window, which is convenient. If you don't have two screens, that's totally okay. Again, manage participants would be something that you would do if somebody left their microphone on. So again, that more and manage participants. And a window is going to open to the side. And you can see here you have the option for their video camera or their microphone. And you also have the option down here for mute all. So if someone is talking or eating and you can hear them chewing, you can click the mute button there. You also have options along the bottom for locking the meeting. That means that nobody else can enter. So if you know all your students are there and you're afraid somebody might come into your meeting, which is very unlikely, you can lock the meeting. You can say mute participants on entry. That way their audio is already off. If you want to have any kind of group discussion, you want to say allow participants to unmute themselves. Then again, here's where everything appears. Notice that mine is muted here, but I have video running. Jacina and I will probably be the one to end the meeting simply because a lot of these we will be recording and they're recording on our computers, so we want to make sure we get everything. So you can probably skip that. So that is a brief overview of using Zoom to teach an OLLI class. I hope you found this helpful.